My name is Gabrielle Leach. Through my experience, I've got a very clear understanding of the legal process and of the boundaries around an investigation. So how you would get them is you need to go and speak to those people and develop strong relationships with members of the police that you work with the child witness service, with the prosecutors and those people that deal with the children in regards to the investigation on a day-to-day basis. You have to start by going and having cups of coffee, making phone calls, showing your face around the place, asking, can I please sit in on or what you might do for a proofing session. Can you explain that to me when you're talking to a DPP prosecutor? What goes on when you sit down with a child prior to court? Can you explain to me when you're up at child witness service, what does the room look like? What are you saying to the children on a day-to-day basis? So I know what to say and what not to say. You need to maybe go down and sit inside a courtroom and just see what goes on inside a courtroom to get a good understanding of what's going to happen to that child on the day. These things are nice to know, but you need to know them yourself so you know what your boundary is in regards to being a good advocate and what supports you can give them. We're not here to do other people's jobs for them. We're here to walk alongside the child and support them through all of the avenues of the system, the legal process, as well as the other agencies that are going to become involved with this child and their family through this process. So to start that conversation is a very, very important step in becoming a good advocate. Is part of the role is not only to support the family, but it is to support the other agencies and let them know that we're here to enhance their service and not to interfere with it as it were. Okay, so I'd like to talk to you about non-evidentiary support for a client, and the best way for me to do that is to give you some examples of some of the people that I have worked with. I was working with a client and her stepsister. We've been working together for a period of time. Now they had already been interviewed by the police. The investigation was well underway, and I was supporting her through the legal process as far as we were waiting for the police officer to finish talking to the offender at the time. So I had organised for her to come in and have some counselling sessions. So each time that she would come in and have counselling with her psychologist, I would touch base with the family and just see what they were up to and see how they were coping and if there was anything else that they needed. Now during those times that she would come in, we'd touch base and say hello, and everything was going along quite well. The investigation was progressing and things were okay. One day after a session that she'd had with her psychologist, I was going to say goodbye to them, and they asked if I could say if I had a minute, and I did. And they told me that that she had something more that she wanted to say on video, that she had remembered another incident with the offender and that she would like to discuss that. So I thanked her for telling me that, and I then conducted the appropriate procedures as far as getting the appropriate agencies back involved now that there was new evidence on hand. So I explained to her that obviously she knew that she wanted to talk on video again, so she knew that that was a forensic part of the investigation and that the proper people to speak to about that were the police, so I helped organise that. So often our clients have real concerns for their personal safety after there's been a disclosure of abuse, and which is a realistic concern with some of the offenders that have committed these crimes. So Some of the discussions that you'll have as an advocate around safety are, first and foremost, which would be safety in the home. You'd be talking about protective behaviours with the parents and how to facilitate that in the family home. So having those general discussions with the child around their body and their own safety. And of course, as an advocate, you'll be referring them on to do protective behaviours, or you might do protective behaviours with the family. As we start to look outside the home, there you'll be looking at getting other agencies involved in the family safety, which will be talking to the police about getting restraining orders if it's a threat in regards to the offender coming back into the home, a violence restraining order. So all the police should be able to point them in the right direction on how to get these restraining orders, or it might be as an advocate that you will go down to the courthouse with them and support them in applying for these restraining orders to help feel safe in that regard. There are also bail conditions which can be issued if you make sure that the client has a discussion with the detective around their concerns for safety. Obviously the detective will know that anyway, but making sure that, you know, these highlighting the parents' concerns and advocating for them to say, look, this is a real issue, they don't feel safe, and making sure the detectives put conditions on the offender's bail to not come near the client. And as I mentioned, there's also violence restraining orders that can be applied for also. As far as the other agencies, there are domestic violence agencies who are excellent at what they do in regards to having numerous contacts and information and resources in regards to shelters and to other resources that can be employed to either help relocate the family if that's necessary. But these discussions, obviously, you'll sit down and you'll have with your client and make sure that all of their concerns and fears are being addressed, and you're doing the best that you can to help them feel safe.